Every single morning, millions of children wake up to the sound of an alarm, throw on heavy backpacks, and sit in traffic. They walk into rigid concrete buildings where they spend the next 8 hours confined to a wooden desk. They are told exactly when to speak, when to eat, and when they are allowed to look out the window. This timeline charts the entirety of human existence. Formal schooling occupies only a microscopic sliver at the very end. For more than 99% of our history, humans had no textbooks or professional teachers, yet they successfully passed down the complex technical skills required to survive for thousands of years. By the age of 12, an ancient human child could identify hundreds of local plant species. They could build shelters from raw natural elements, and they learned to track dangerous predators across shifting terrains. Modern childhood looks very different. If a child resists sitting perfectly still for 8 hours straight, we often label them with a behavioral disorder. Meanwhile, parents are left exhausted, trying to manage a hyper-regulated system that leaves little room for natural movement or curiosity. This diagram illustrates an evolutionary mismatch. On one side, you have a fluid, organic system, the biologically hardwired learning machine of a human child. On the other, a rigid, grid-like modern institution. Forcing the two together creates constant tension and friction. Modern schooling treats learning as a chore, often using artificial rewards to force memorization. In ancient hunter-gatherer bands, the entire world served as the classroom, and children learned through self-directed play. This neural network shows how that learning happens on a biological level. When a child observes an adult flint-knapping or gathering roots, their brain utilizes mirror neurons to absorb those complex behavioral patterns through direct emulation. If a boy wanted to learn to hunt, he didn't read a manual. He and his peers played elaborate games of stalking each other in the brush, practicing their stealth and spatial awareness. They manufactured miniature bows and arrows from scraps left behind by the tribe's craftsmen. The reward was the immediate thrill of hitting a moving target. Because survival depended on true competency rather than passing a written exam, children practiced until their skills were second nature. Every game played served as a literal rehearsal for future survival. Human biology uses play as the primary engine of education, turning the mastery of survival skills into a voluntary, engaging activity. Modern parents live in isolated nuclear households. When 1 or 2 adults are expected to provide 100% of a child's financial, emotional, and physical support, the psychological pressure often exceeds human capacity, leading to widespread parental burnout. Our ancestors relied on alloparenting, children connected to a distributed network of tribal adults who shared protection and teaching. This system provided constant emotional security through diverse role models. If a father was a poor, they found mentors in uncles or elders. Diffusing the pressure of child-rearing across a village built deep social intelligence. Children learned to read facial expressions, de-escalate social conflicts, and cooperate with people of all ages because their daily survival depended on maintaining harmony within the group. Without written alphabets, internet servers, or libraries, ancient humans had to ensure that thousands of years of accumulated cultural knowledge didn't vanish in a single generation. They used the evening campfire as their educational platform. Elders passed down the history, ethics, and science of the tribe through the masterclass of dynamic storytelling. Watch how this map draws itself based on a story. An elder tells a myth about a spirit animal navigating a mountain pass following the wind. While entertained, children mapped vital geographical coordinates and learned meteorological warning signs embedded in the narrative. The human mind is naturally optimized to retain emotional narratives rather than isolated lists of facts. By listening to these tales night after night, ancient children developed a form of cognitive literacy that linked their moral values directly to their physical environment. Today, youth anxiety and depression are at record highs. We have trapped young adults in an artificial, prolonged state of legal and social dependency, keeping them in classrooms for years after they have reached physical maturity. In the ancient world, the decade-long gray zone we call adolescence did not exist. When a child reached physical maturity, they underwent rigorous rites of passage that tested their resilience. Once they passed, they were full members of the adult world. Their voice mattered in tribal councils, and their contributions directly kept the community from starving. This immediate shift into real-world responsibility provided ancient youth with authentic purpose. They didn't suffer from identity crises because their utility to the tribe was clearly defined and highly valued. We are not going to abandon our cities and run back into the forest to hunt mammoths. However, we can no longer ignore the friction caused by placing children in environments that defy their natural design. We can begin to realign their lives by reintroducing unstructured, free outdoor play. This allows children to engage the self-directed learning systems that served our species for millennia. We can also work to rebuild local parenting villages. By inviting friends, neighbors, and elders to help guide our youth, we can share the psychological load and provide children with the diverse support network they biologically expect. Finally, we can stop treating teenagers like children and start giving them meaningful responsibilities. Challenging their capabilities with real-world tasks builds the genuine self-worth that modern classrooms often struggle to provide. Ancient humans operated on the principle that daily survival provides the most effective curriculum. By realigning our modern environments with our evolutionary past, we can finally give our kids the space to breathe, grow, and learn the way nature intended.